Disney is no longer happy? Yes, Bob Iger himself and Disney have been trying to get Ryan Reynolds to drop this nonsense. This is all absolutely valid. This is not frivolous.
Ryan Reynolds may be regretting marrying Blake Lively, as that choice reportedly cost him his entire standing with Disney and Marvel. What started as a subtle threat to his reputation quickly escalated into a full-blown career collapse, with Disney officially cutting ties and ending his involvement once and for all.
Nobody wants to be involved in this.
Andy wasn't wrong. No studio wants to back someone tangled in lawsuits, blackmail rumors, and brand chaos. That's why on May 15th, 2025, Ryan Reynolds showed up at Disney's Burbank headquarters expecting a standard check-in. What he got instead was a corporate reality check. Sources inside Disney confirmed that Bob Iger personally called the meeting, and it wasn't about Deadpool promotions or upcoming Marvel phases. It was an intervention, a warning, and what insiders describe as a final chance. Multiple sources, including 2 from Marvel Studios and 1 from Disney Legal, have now confirmed Iger's message to Reynolds: cut ties with Blake Lively's subpoena scandal immediately, within 72 hours, or face termination. The consequences were clear: lose access to promotions, be removed from Marvel's Phase 6 roadmap, and possibly jeopardize all future collaborations with Disney. Reynolds' career was suddenly on the line.
The case is for, Ryan. You don't get to just throw your power around and keep demanding that it's frivolous and to go away and blah, 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 blah. You are so out of touch. It's why.
This wasn't just a studio exec overreacting to tabloid chatter. Disney's legal team had been monitoring the escalating media storm for weeks, but things spiked after the May 14th court filings were unsealed. The documents exposed shocking claims about Blake Lively's legal tactics, including alleged blackmail involving Taylor Swift's private texts. While Reynolds wasn't named directly, his role as Blake's husband, business partner, and public advocate instantly made him a high-risk figure. "You don't need to be guilty to be a liability," an internal Disney source explained. Once that affidavit dropped, Reynolds went from yellow flag to red. The risk was immediate and severe.
You guys started this lawsuit. Let's not forget, you were the ones who started the lawsuit.
Now, what does yellow flagged even mean in Disney terms? According to a leaked internal risk report from the Marvel marketing team, it's the studio's warning system for reputational threats. Reynolds was marked as potentially damaging to brand optics as early as April due to his refusal to comment on Blake Lively's escalating legal chaos and his cryptic social media posts, which some interpreted as indirect support for her. But after the Swift-Lively bombshell, Disney could no longer afford to play nice. So, during that meeting, Bob Iger didn't mince words. Sources briefed after the sit-down claim Iger told Reynolds, "You either clean up your image fast, or we clean it for you, by pulling you out of every appearance, ad, and poster we have planned." Not a metaphor. By May 16th, Reynolds' name had been scrubbed from at least 2 major press event rosters, including Marvel's planned Deadpool 3 reveal slate and a scheduled Good Morning America appearance. Disney reportedly paused all Reynolds-centered marketing for Deadpool 3, redirecting efforts toward Zazie Beetz, Josh Brolin, and lesser-known cast members. That kind of pivot doesn't happen unless corporate leadership deems the situation extremely serious. Inside Marvel, the mood is tense. One assistant producer speaking anonymously said, "Kevin Feige didn't want this. He fought to keep Ryan involved, but Bob Iger has the final call, and the legal team was unanimous." Reynolds was too entangled. What tipped the scales? Internal messages showing Reynolds discussing Blake's legal mess with outside parties, particularly a former Marvel consultant now working in crisis PR. Disney considered this a red flag, not criminal, but enough to raise concerns about narrative management behind the scenes. Reynolds reportedly tried to push back during the meeting, asking, "So, you want me to abandon my wife to save Deadpool?" The response was cold. "We want you to separate your personal life from our brand. That's the job." Since then, Reynolds has maintained public silence. No tweets, no Instagram stories, and notably, he canceled a planned press run for a Hulu spin-off co-produced by his company, Maximum Effort, partially backed by Disney. Hulu legal contacts confirmed Reynolds' projects are under review, and discussions about creative adjustments to prevent PR or legal complications are ongoing. Disney is in full damage control. A second Marvel source confirmed that all marketing materials featuring Reynolds, digital banners, trailers, and merchandise, are being re-evaluated. A major toy partner was instructed to delay shipping Deadpool figurines with Reynolds' likeness until further notice. The speed of these moves is shocking. Reynolds was one of Disney's most bankable assets, with Deadpool 2 grossing over $785 million globally. His brand once seemed bulletproof. But when corporate giants feel threatened, loyalty becomes optional, and image becomes everything. Reynolds' team is reportedly renegotiating his Marvel contract, exploring early exit clauses and legal protections, possibly including a quiet exit deal where both parties agree not to trash each other publicly. This is no longer just about PR, it's about corporate survival. On May 17, 2025, internal Marvel Studios documents confirmed a formal complaint had been filed against Reynolds for suspected violations of non-disclosure agreements. This wasn't an isolated warning. It was a structured report routed through Disney's legal division, citing unauthorized disclosures of on-set interactions and character-related materials during Deadpool 3's principal photography. According to a source close to Marvel's legal counsel, the internal review began on May 3 but escalated after text message evidence surfaced in a legal filing tied to the ongoing Lively Baldwin case. Court documents submitted on May 14 by attorney Jason Breen, representing a known associate of Justinbaldoni, included screenshots of alleged messages between Reynolds and Baldwin's opposition party. These messages, exchanged between March 18 and April 2, 2025, discussed internal Deadpool 3 dynamics on the Vancouver set. One message described a senior crew member as a media bait dog, suggesting Reynolds may have shared disparaging remarks from private script discussions. Disney's legal advisors acted within 48 hours. A May 16 briefing memo, reviewed by Deadline and later confirmed to Variety, outlined potential breaches of the defamation of franchise clause embedded in Reynolds' Marvel talent contract. Introduced after the 2019 Scarlett Johansson settlement, this clause allows Disney to withhold bonuses, halt promotions, or sue talent if external disclosures damage narrative integrity or franchise goodwill. Reynolds' timing compounded the problem. The messages were exchanged during active principal photography, directly conflicting with the non-inference language in his contract. This wasn't simply about gossip. Disney assessed Reynolds' involvement as a reputational threat. Yellow flagging him meant caution. He was now on the corporate radar as a possible liability. After the Swift Lively bombshell, he transitioned from yellow to red flag status, a clear signal that immediate action was required. Disney's internal messaging emphasized separation from personal entanglements. Reynolds' continued involvement with Blake's legal drama, even indirectly, threatened Deadpool 3's narrative, marketing strategy, and brand perception. The studio's move was swift and methodical. From press appearances to merchandising pipelines, Reynolds' presence was being systematically minimized. Deadpool figurines and promotional banners were delayed, rescheduled, or replaced with alternative cast members. Internal communications reportedly labeled Reynolds as a high-risk optics element for the brand, and executives debated whether retaining him would outweigh the potential fallout. Peeche's objections were overruled by Iger's insistence on corporate protection. Reynolds' attempts to negotiate, clarify, or resist were limited by the legal framework. As a husband, business partner, and public ally of Lively, his private communications were now corporate evidence. Disney interpreted even indirect support for her as brand jeopardy. By mid-May, Reynolds had canceled appearances, paused promotional content, and halted media engagement. The combination of PR pressure, contractual clauses, and internal investigations created an environment where his departure from active Marvel marketing was unavoidable. To summarize, the chain of events is clear. Reynolds' indirect connection to Blake Lively's subpoena scandal and associated legal leaks triggered Disney's risk management protocols. Yellow flag status escalated to red, internal messages revealed possible coordination with outside parties, and contractual obligations allowed Disney to halt promotions and review legal exposure. Reynolds' public silence, project pauses, and marketing withdrawal were all part of Disney's corporate mitigation strategy. The consequence: A star once untouchable in the Marvel Universe now faces unprecedented scrutiny, contract renegotiation, and career uncertainty, all rooted in his proximity to one of Hollywood's most explosive legal scandals. Marvel's on-set policy, specifically Article 4, Section C, updated in 2023, clearly requires actors to avoid parallel legal or public conflicts that could intersect with production image or storyline confidentiality. By communicating with parties involved in an active legal battle concerning another Disney-affiliated actor, Reynolds entered a compliance gray area that Disney had no intention of tolerating. On May 18, 2025, internal production notes obtained by The Hollywood Reporter revealed that Kevin Feige, Marvel's chief creative officer, opted to skip a scheduled post-shoot meeting with Reynolds in New York. A staffer in Feige's office officially cited scheduling conflicts, but off-the-record messages between two marketing leads suggest the real reason was Feige's discomfort with the escalating legal risks tied to Reynolds' involvement. The separation extended beyond private meetings. During Deadpool 3 reshoots from May 10th to 13th in Atlanta, Reynolds' scenes were reportedly filmed with minimal studio interaction. A camera crew member noted that Reynolds' usual on-set tent was relocated and executive producers were absent during all 3 days of filming. Fans first noticed the distancing after Marvel released behind-the-scenes photos on May 15th, in which Reynolds did not appear despite being on location the entire week. By May 19th, Disney began actively scrubbing Reynolds from ongoing promotional material. The official Marvel Studios Instagram removed a pinned post featuring Reynolds in full Deadpool costume, which had amassed over 3.1 million likes since March 2025. In its place, a post highlighted the supporting cast with the caption, "Heroes come in all forms. Get ready for Deadpool's wildest ride yet," notably omitting Reynolds' name. Even more telling was the revision of Disney's Summer Licensing Showcase catalog, published May 20th, 2025. The Deadpool 3 section, originally a full-page spread featuring Reynolds' likeness and product roadmap, was reduced to a half-page showing only Deadpool's mask and generic merchandise with no actor attribution. Licensing partners told Business Insider that such alterations are highly unusual unless contractual or public risk concerns are involved. Behind the scenes, Disney assembled its high-risk legal response team, the same unit that handled the Gina Carano fallout and Jonathan Majors' 2023 contract freeze. Two legal analysts familiar with Disney's approach stated Reynolds could face one of two outcomes: a silent release via buyout with non-disparagement terms, or a direct lawsuit citing damages to studio IP through unauthorized communications and narrative compromise. On May 21st, verified Marvel insider Atrial, a Sharks account with a track record of early production leaks, posted a viral thread claiming Disney had prepared a $485 million draft claim. If Reynolds' involvement results in a box office failure or franchise damage, the draft could be formally filed. It reportedly cites repeated patterns of reputational compromise and hostile communication with opposing legal parties during production. On May 12th, legal journalist Kira Bennett broke the story that Ryan Reynolds had officially been subpoenaed as a witness in the ongoing Baldoni versus Lively defamation and interference case. Bennett cited confirmation from Blake Lively's legal team during a closed-door court update in Los Angeles Superior Court. Reynolds' publicists had previously dismissed rumors of his involvement, but court filings dated May 10th explicitly list him as a material witness regarding interspousal communication relevant to brand defense strategy. In other words, the court views Reynolds not as a bystander, but as someone who may have actively assisted Blake in shaping her media narrative. The repercussions were immediate. On May 14th, during a private evidentiary hearing, the court reviewed encrypted messages and iMessage screenshots submitted by Baldoni's team. These appear to show direct coordination between Blake and Ryan on how to present a united public front. One message from Blake to Ryan, dated February 28, 2025, read, "Please don't speak until I clear it with PR. We can't give them anything that suggests internal conflict. This is about protecting the brand." A follow-up text from March 2nd showed Ryan replying, "Got it. Silence is our best weapon right now." Legal analysts interpret this correspondence as evidence of deliberate joint strategy, potentially undermining Blake's claims that she acted independently and without malice. Even more significant, Ryan's responses could create a secondary legal liability. Under California Civil Code Section 47, spousal privilege does not cover communications intended to conceal or coordinate a false public narrative. These texts could therefore be admissible in court if the case proceeds to full trial, a now increasingly likely scenario. The fallout rippled through their inner circle. On May 15th, fans noticed that Taylor Swift and Gigi Hadid, two of Blake's closest celebrity allies, had unfollowed Ryan Reynolds on Instagram. The move sparked immediate speculation, particularly because both women had previously maintained their followings through prior scandals. Swift's decision is particularly telling, given her past public endorsements of Reynolds, including referencing his children in the 2020 Folklore album rollout. A source close to Taylor told Entertainment Watch on May 16 that the decision was personal and deliberate, citing a breakdown in trust after Swift was blindsided by the subpoena and texts referencing her name. Gigi Hadid remained silent, though her PR team confirmed she was not involved in the legal matter. Behind the scenes, the rift between Blake and Ryan deepened. On May 17th, an assistant from Maximum Effort, the couple's joint production company, leaked to Deadline that Blake had pleaded with Ryan not to comply with the subpoena. The assistant, who reportedly left the company that week, stated that Blake broke down during a private conversation at their Bedford, New York estate, saying, "If you testify, you're giving them everything. Don't do this. Please, just stand with me." Sources say Reynolds refused, bluntly stating, "I'm not going down for this." While legally understandable, the refusal has placed their marriage under immense strain. No separation has been confirmed, but the couple has not been photographed together since April 24th, over 3 weeks prior. Their last joint event, a promotional shoot for their alcohol brand in London, was described by attendees as tense. A brand partner later said they were professional but not affectionate, appearing to perform damage control in every frame. Professional consequences have been equally severe. As of May 10th, Maximum Effort halted 3 joint ventures previously in development with Amazon Studios, Netflix, and FX. A romantic thriller titled Shadow Curtain, a comedy series co-starring Maya Rudolph, and a docuseries about celebrity branding. Emails leaked from Netflix's internal planning system on May 19th confirm the streamer will not proceed with script-to-series negotiations involving Reynolds and Lively until legal clarity is achieved. Advertising fallout followed. On May 20th, 2 global marketing firms, Horizon Media and 360i, confirmed they paused or pulled campaign drafts featuring the couple. One campaign, a completed luxury watch holiday special, will be shelved entirely, with a new version featuring a different couple to be shot by mid-June. On May 21st, Netflix quietly terminated negotiations on a $40 million original feature film starring Reynolds, a high-concept action comedy tentatively titled Lockstep, in pre-development since January and slated for casting by July. According to an internal memo obtained by The Ankler, the streamer cited elevated risk of negative association from unresolved public legal matters as the primary reason for cancellation. The decision followed heightened media scrutiny of Reynolds' legal entanglement due to his connection to Blake Lively's alleged extortion case. Industry sources confirmed that Netflix's risk mitigation team flagged Reynolds' name during a monthly reputational audit, effectively halting the project until the legal storm subsides. A side producer familiar with the process said Reynolds' brand, once considered bulletproof, is now officially flagged in red. The audit followed the viral spread of a Reddit thread on May 18th, which accused Reynolds of silently shielding extortion by refusing to denounce or disassociate from Blake Lively's subpoena scandal. The thread, which reached 41,000 upvotes in just 12 hours, included screenshots of Reynolds' cryptic posts and analyzed overlaps between court hearings and Marvel production shoots. The conversation quickly shifted from celebrity gossip to full-blown risk analysis. The next day, May 19th, the board of Aviation Gin, the spirits company Reynolds co-founded in 2018 and partially sold to Diageo in a deal reportedly worth up to $610 million, issued a carefully worded press statement. Aviation Gin had no comment on ongoing legal controversies involving Reynolds. Though seemingly neutral, the silence was telling. Previously, Aviation Gin had celebrated Reynolds' personal brand in marketing campaigns, highlighting his charm, integrity, and mischief. This time, there was no defense, no loyalty. The financial hit was immediate. Following the Reddit surge and subsequent coverage from Insider Business, Aviation Gin's parent stock fell 6.4% between May 19th and May 25th, the steepest 24-hour decline in over 9 months. Analysts directly attributed the drop to volatile consumer sentiment. A note from boutique firm Penbridge Capital read, "This is a textbook brand body slam scenario. Diageo's silence implies distancing, and markets respond fast when the face of your product becomes a potential courtroom liability." Two insiders at Diageo said Reynolds attempted to buy back a larger equity stake in Aviation Gin between May 17th and May 20th, a move interpreted as either a strategic exit route or a PR insulation strategy. One executive said Reynolds wanted to regain control, either to steer the brand out of the storm or protect it from further fallout. Diageo declined, stating, "We appreciate Mr. Reynolds' continued passion, but this is not the right time to reallocate shares." The subtext was clear. They did not want to tie the brand to a man entangled in a potential witness tampering scandal. The most visible blow came not in courtrooms or boardrooms, but in Times Square on May 20th. A 70-foot digital billboard featuring Reynolds in a tuxedo, promoting Aviation Gin on the NASDAQ tower, was abruptly pulled. Scheduled to run for 3 more weeks as part of a global Father's Day campaign, the ad was replaced overnight with a generic branding loop. One media buyer told Aude, "We didn't even get a reschedule notice. It was just pulled." Such an action signals urgent reputational concerns. This marks a dramatic reversal for Reynolds, once considered one of Hollywood's safest celebrity investments. Between 2020 and 2025, he built a diversified business portfolio spanning liquor, mobile carriers, soccer teams, and streaming content, all anchored in his comedic charm and reliable public image. That image is now fractured, not because of a personal misstep, but due to association with a legal and PR hurricane surrounding his wife. A senior Netflix marketing executive, speaking anonymously, noted that the streamer's decision to cut ties was purely actuarial. Every star has a risk profile. Ryan's used to be under 5%. He's now clocking around 40, and it's climbing. We don't greenlight projects on vibes. We greenlight based on risk return. This one just turned red. Simultaneously, internal documents from WPP's Group M, the world's largest media buying agency, flagged Reynolds as a Category 3 risk for Q3 endorsements. Any campaign featuring his likeness now requires pre-clearance from legal, PR, and finance teams across multiple brand departments. According to a Group M employee in Los Angeles, such a designation almost always kills endorsement deals. As of May 22nd, Reynolds had not responded publicly to ad pullbacks or the Netflix cancellation. Aviation Gin's Instagram has been silent since May 17th, and customer engagement, once dominated by Reynolds' humor-driven videos, has dried up entirely. Diageo has already shifted promotional focus to other products in its summer lineup, particularly Tanker and Bullet, now dominating homepage banners. Adding fuel to the fire, a verified industry insider on X, known as Script Leak Pro, revealed that Reynolds reportedly turned down a $1.2 to $2 million crisis PR package from one of Hollywood's top brand management firms. The offer would have required him to issue a public apology and appear in a controlled on-camera interview, a move Reynolds reportedly dismissed as a scripted humiliation and orchestrated character assassination. The plan, according to sources, would have positioned him as taking the blame for his wife's legal and PR chaos, effectively tying his image permanently to Blake Lively's scandal. The crisis management plan developed by Elevate Strategies, a firm that previously handled damage control for Ezra Miller and Armie Hammer, offered Reynolds a 90-day media blackout, a carefully filtered sit-down interview, and a structured social media rehabilitation program. An executive from Elevate confirmed to The Hollywood Standard that Reynolds was approached in early May, just days after his name surfaced in court documents tied to Blake Lively's alleged extortion case. The source added, We don't usually see outright rejections. Most celebrities at this level understand it's about survival, not ego. Reynolds, however, declined, believing the plan would make him appear guilty. The refusal triggered immediate consequences. By May 21st, 2 talent agents confirmed that WME, Reynolds' longtime agency and one of the world's most powerful, had placed him on indefinite pause. In internal databases, this status freezes active job offers, halts contract negotiations, and signals to studios that a client is under review for brand risk. Typically reserved for actors facing legal scrutiny or unresolved scandals, the designation makes securing new deals nearly impossible without executive override. Internal WME emails revealed multiple A-list producers quietly stepping back from Reynolds for 2026 and 2027 projects. Among them was Jonah Myers, director of Ocean's Rising, who had been negotiating a lead role for Reynolds in a sci-fi heist thriller. In an internal note dated May 18th, a production assistant asked if the deal was proceeding. The reply, "We're ghosting him for now." PRs redlined him. These ghostings were not isolated incidents. On May 19th, a Hollywood screenwriter shared a DM exchange with Reynolds from earlier in the month, in which he followed up about a potential lead in an unannounced Warner Brothers comedy. The writer's response, dated May 17th, was terse. "We've gone in another direction. Good luck." The leak quickly went viral, with many noting the stark contrast to previous, more enthusiastic communications. Even the philanthropic side of Reynolds' brand began to crack. The annual Lively Reynolds Foundation Gala, known for raising $3 million per year for children's education, was abruptly canceled on May 20th. Originally scheduled for June 8th, the event was quietly removed from the official website, replaced with "to be announced." A donor later told Charity Insider that organizers had been advised to minimize celebrity involvement this year due to unforeseen complications. Meanwhile, Marvel Studios quietly shifted its production strategy. Internal documents reviewed by Deadline indicate that since May 16th, Deadpool 3 scenes have been rewritten to reduce Reynolds' character dependency. A casting call from Disney's London office described the need-free, a versatile lead capable of introducing a new multiverse variant, a clear reference to a potential Deadpool replacement. Insiders suggest Marvel is preparing to phase out Reynolds' Deadpool in favor of a younger, less controversial actor. Rumored frontrunner Taron Egerton reportedly filmed test footage during reshoots from May 11th to 14th. If confirmed, this would represent one of the most abrupt franchise handovers in Marvel history, not due to age, injury, or box office performance, but purely because of legal fallout and reputational collapse. Financial repercussions are mounting. A Forbes Entertainment report on May 22nd revised Deadpool 3 merchandise projections down by 34% for the fiscal year. Retailers like Hot Topic and Box Lunch have asked for guidance on whether to pull Reynolds likeness products from shelves. Licensing insiders anticipate an official Disney memo within the next 2 weeks. If Reynolds' version of Deadpool is removed from long-term marketing, these items could immediately become legacy merchandise, losing future revenue potential. Reynolds himself has remained entirely silent. No social media posts, no interviews, no public damage control. The man once celebrated for his quick wit and charm has vanished behind a legal wall as his career, once the gold standard of Hollywood bankability, enters freefall without a visible parachute. From agency freezes to Marvel reshoots, merchandise pullbacks, and gala cancellations, Reynolds faces a multi-front brand collapse. His refusal to engage in a structured PR recovery has intensified the perception of risk. With studios, investors, and licensing partners distancing themselves, the actor's image has shifted from trusted and bulletproof to high-risk and controversial in a matter of weeks. Now, the big question remains, can Ryan Reynolds recover from this cascade of setbacks? Or has Hollywood finally written off its favorite anti-hero? The fallout from Blake Lively's legal storm has proven that even the most bankable stars are vulnerable when personal and professional worlds collide. Reynolds' silence may protect him legally, but it also isolates him from the machinery that once amplified his career. Whether he can rebuild his brand, or if this marks a permanent pivot in his Hollywood trajectory, remains one of the most closely watched stories in entertainment today.